All right, get ready to trade in those snow boots for some sandals because today we're going to be diving deep into Italian wine tours.
Yes.
Specifically, we're going to Tuscany.
Beautiful.
Thinking rolling hills, vineyards, as far as I can see, those charming villages you see on postcards.
Mm-hmm.
So to do this deep dive, we've got a fantastic blog article all about the top tours in the region, plus 3 YouTube videos from people who've actually gone on these tours, experienced it firsthand. We're talking real, on-the-ground accounts.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. And in these sources, we'll be uncovering some hidden gems. Like, have you heard of these wine safaris?
Wine safaris.
Yeah, you can actually taste wine straight from the barrel.
Wow.
And I found this award-winning gelato that I'm dying to try. Apparently, people are lining up down the street for it.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like Tuscany has so much more than just those, like, classic vineyards.
Oh, definitely. It's really not a one-size-fits-all wine region. You've got your historic vineyards, of course.
Yeah.
But there's olive oil tastings. You get to meet these families who've been running their wineries for generations. I mean, it's a real tapestry of experiences.
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. The blog article really focuses on the Chianti region, but it mentions some other areas like San Gimignano, Siena, Monteriggioni. So can you break down for us, like, why Tuscany is such a hot spot for wine lovers? What's so special about it?
Well, I think it's that combination of climate, the soil, and the centuries of tradition. They've really got it down to a science.
Right.
And each region brings something different to the table. Like Chianti, for example, is known for Chianti Classico.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that one.
Yeah, that's like a wine that's really steeped in tradition. But then you have these super Tuscans, which are actually a pretty recent thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. These winemakers basically started breaking the traditional rules, blending in international grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon.
Huh.
And it created these amazing, bold wines that have like taken the world by storm.
Okay, I gotta admit, I've heard of super Tuscans, but I don't really get what makes them so special. Can you explain that a little more?
Absolutely. So traditional Chianti is made primarily with Sangiovese grapes, and they have to follow all these strict rules, right?
Yeah.
The Super Tuscans, they kind of just threw the rule book out the window. They're still mostly Sangiovese, but they're allowed to use other grapes, and the focus is more on quality and innovation, not just sticking to tradition.
Okay, I get it.
Kind of like a rebellious teenager who ends up exceeding everyone's expectations.
I love that. That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
So we've got Chianti Classico, the classic one, and then these rule-breaking super Tuscans.
Yep.
What other interesting wines should we be on the lookout for in Tuscany?
Oh, there are so many. But if you really want to experience like the essence of Tuscany,
Okay.
you can't miss Brunello di Montalcino.
Okay.
It's known for this intense flavor and aging potential.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking decades. And then for something totally different, there's Vernaccia di San Gimignano, a crisp white wine that people have been enjoying since medieval times.
Okay, now I'm getting thirsty. Let's talk about some of these tours. So the blog mentions a Chianti wine tour from Florence,
Yes.
which seems to be super popular. And one thing that caught my eye was the focus on small, family-owned wineries.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a really authentic, like intimate experience.
Yeah, exactly. Those small wineries give you a real look into the heart and soul of Tuscan winemaking. They're often passed down through families, generation after generation, and you can feel the passion in every bottle.
It's like you're part of something special.
Yeah, plus you get that personal touch, like the chance to actually talk to the winemakers, hear their stories. It's just an experience you wouldn't get at a larger, more commercial winery.
It's about the connection.
Total.
And it's not just about the wine. The blog also mentions these incredible food pairings.
Of course, yeah.
We're talking barbaresco with local cured meats, Chianti Classico with pecorino cheese, Vinsanto dessert wine with biscotti. This is making me so hungry.
Well, the food. Yeah, you can't talk about Tuscany without talking about the food. It's an integral part of the experience.
Right, because they're meant to go together.
Exactly. Every pairing is like carefully thought out to enhance the flavors of both the wine and the dish.
Yeah.
It's almost like a culinary symphony where each note has its role to play.
I love that.
It's not just tasting, it's experiencing the whole region's culture through its food and wine.
Okay, speaking of experiencing, how about a whirlwind tour? There's this one that covers San Gimignano, Siena, Monteriggioni, and Chianti all in one day.
Wow.
Sounds pretty jam-packed, but it's probably a great way to get a taste of all the different sides of Tuscany.
It really is. If you're short on time but you want to hit all the major spots, that's the tour to do. San Gimignano is fascinating, for example.
What's so special about it?
Well, you know those medieval towers you see in
Ugh.
pictures? Those were actually built by rich families back in the day as status symbols, almost like uh, a medieval skyscraper race.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's cool. And then Siena is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Incredible Gothic architecture.
Oh, wow. What about Monteriggioni?
Monteriggioni.
The article describes it as a walled fortress village.
Yeah, it's epic. It's like stepping back in time. Perfectly preserved medieval village perched on this hilltop, surrounded by these massive walls built to protect against, invaders.
Wow.
Yeah. Today, it's a glimpse into Tuscany's past, and you get some insane panoramic views.
So you've got the history, the architecture, stunning scenery, and of course, lots of wine along the way. That sounds like an unforgettable day.
Absolutely.
But for something a little more relaxed, maybe more romantic, there's this Florence Sunset Food and Wine Tour that looks really cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, just imagine walking through those historic streets as the sun sets, sipping Chianti, and enjoying delicious food pairings.
That one is all about ambience and intimacy. From the videos I saw, they keep the groups pretty small, so it's more personal.
Yeah, I like that.
You get to discover some hidden gems like little wine bars tucked away in the back streets and enjoy those classic Tuscan flavors as you're watching the sunset over Florence.
Okay, so we've got tours departing from Florence, but what about people who are based in Rome?
Right.
The blog also features a Best of Tuscany day trip from Rome, which seems like a good way to see the region if you don't have time to relocate.
Absolutely. That one covers a lot of ground. It goes to Montepulciano, Pienza, and Montalcino.
Oh, wow. A lot of driving.
Yeah, but worth it. Montepulciano is famous for its Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. It's a bold, elegant red wine. Pienza is known for Pecorino cheese.
Hmm.
The one we talked about that pairs so well with Chianti.
Yeah.
And then Montalcino is where you find Brunello di Montalcino, considered one of Italy's finest wines.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like a dream come true for wine lovers.
It is.
And it also includes a stop at a local estate for a homemade pasta lunch with regional wines.
Amazing.
Talk about a true taste of Tuscany. But you know what? We're just getting started.
Oh,
Up next, we're going to really dig into these tours, uncovering hidden gems and insider tips so you can plan your perfect Tuscan adventure.
all right. Welcome back to our deep dive into Tuscan wine tours.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to really get into the nitty-gritty of what makes these tours so special?
Oh, absolutely. In the last part, you mentioned this Chianti safari that takes you off the beaten path. Sounds pretty adventurous. What kind of hidden gems can we expect?
This is where those YouTube videos really come in handy. The people who took this tour, they described these hidden wineries as like family-run operations tucked away in these beautiful little corners of the countryside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you get this sense of intimacy,
Mm.
like you're being welcomed into someone's home,
Yeah.
and you have a chance to really chat with the winemakers, learn about their unique approaches, the stories behind the wine.
That's cool. One of the YouTubers even mentioned tasting wine straight from the barrel.
Oh yeah.
That's not something you get to do every day.
No, not at all. So picture this. You're in this dimly lit cellar, surrounded by oak barrels. And the winemaker takes this long, thin tube, dips it into a barrel, and draws out a sample just for you. You're tasting the wine in its purest form before it's even bottled.
Wow.
Yeah, and you get this sense of its potential, how the flavors will develop over time. It's really unique, goes way beyond the typical tasting room.
It sounds like it really connects you to the process of winemaking, the patience and artistry.
Exactly.
And from the videos, the Chianti Safari isn't just about the wine. They were showing some incredible food, too.
Oh, of course. Think about enjoying like a platter of local cheeses paired with wines in a beautiful vineyard, or maybe a homemade Italian lunch with ingredients straight from the garden. It's all about slowing down, appreciating the simple pleasures, and connecting with the land and the people who work it.
Yeah. The YouTubers talked about the connections they made with other people on the tour, too, fellow wine enthusiasts
Yeah.
from all over the world. It seems like that shared passion really adds something special.
Definitely. You're not just observing, you're engaging, sharing stories, comparing your tasting notes. You could even make lifelong friends, people who share your love for Tuscan wine.
I love that. Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about this homemade dinner and oil tasting in a Tuscan farm tour. We mentioned it briefly before, but this one really intrigues me. It feels so different from the Chianti Safari, much more laid back.
Yeah, totally different vibe. This one's all about immersing yourself in that rural heart of Tuscany. It's about experiencing life on a working farm and appreciating how food, wine, and the land are all connected.
The YouTube videos show people actually getting involved in the olive oil production, like walking through the olive groves, learning how it's made, even pressing their own olive oil.
It's amazing, right? Can you imagine tasting that fresh pressed olive oil, still warm from the press, and comparing all the flavors of different olive varieties? It's such a sensory experience, really connects you to the land.
And then after a day of exploring the farm, you get to sit down to a homemade dinner prepared by the family who runs it.
That's the best part.
It's like something out of a movie, you know? That
Yeah.
rustic farmhouse, the long table full of food, the warmth of the family.
It really captures that Tuscan hospitality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm sold on the Chianti Safari and the farm dinner, but let's not forget those other tours we mentioned. I'm curious to hear more about that day trip that covers San Gimignano, Siena, Monteriggioni, and Chianti all in one day. What stood out to you from the YouTube videos?
Well, the video that covers that specific tour,
Yeah.
it really captures the charm of San Gimignano. The YouTuber describes it as like this medieval town, known for its towers with amazing views, and you get to try Vernacci's wine.
It's those towers that are so striking. You see them in pictures, but I can only imagine what it's like to actually be there, walking those streets, looking up at those structures that have been standing for centuries.
It really is like a time machine. Remember we were talking about those towers being built as status symbols? Well, you can actually climb to the top of some of them.
No way.
Yeah. And the views from up there, incredible. You see this panoramic vista of the countryside, the rolling hills, the vineyards, olive groves stretching out forever. It's breathtaking.
And of course, you can't forget about the Vernaccia di San Gimignano, that crisp white wine they've been making there forever. The YouTuber mentioned tasting different Vernaccia wines paired with local specialties. That sounds like the perfect way to experience the region, through its flavors. What kind of pairings did they highlight?
They were talking about Vernaccia with fresh seafood, grilled vegetables, even Tuscan white bean soup. The wine's acidity cuts through the richness of the dishes, and those delicate floral and citrus notes, they really complement the food beautifully.
Okay, so we've explored San Gimignano. What about Siena? I remember you mentioning its Gothic architecture and that famous Piazza del Campo.
Siena is a visual feast. The YouTuber described Piazza del Campo as one of the most beautiful medieval squares in all of Italy. It's this huge shell-shaped square surrounded by these incredible Gothic buildings. It's truly a sight to behold.
And it's not just a historical landmark, right? It's still a vibrant part of the city.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The YouTuber mentioned that they hold the Palio horse race there twice a year. It's a tradition that goes back to medieval times.
Wow. Can you imagine the energy during that event?
Oh, I bet it's electric. People come from all over the world to see it. It's a spectacle, each district competing fiercely, a real testament to the traditions of Tuscany.
And then there's Monteriggioni, that walled fortress village, like something out of a fairy tale. What did the YouTubers have to say about that stop?
The YouTuber who went there called it a hidden gem, perfectly preserved, like
Yeah.
stepping back in time. They talked about walking along those ancient walls, those views of the countryside, and just imagining what life was like back then.
It's amazing to think about all the history those walls have seen, from medieval battles to the Renaissance, a real connection to Tuscany's past.
Absolutely. And, while you're there, grab a glass of Candy Classico and just take it all in. There are some charming little cafes and wine bars inside those walls, perfect for relaxing and soaking up the atmosphere.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Okay, so we've hit San Gimignano, Siena, Monteriggioni. Now let's talk about the heart of it all, the Chianti region. What kind of wine experiences can we expect on this day trip?
Well, they usually stop at a traditional Chianti vineyard, give you a tour, let you taste a bunch of different Chianti Classico wines. You learn about the Sangiovese grapes, how they make the wine, the importance of the terroir, the land in shaping those flavors.
One of the YouTubers mentioned tasting different Chianti wines paired with local foods. It seems like food pairings are a big deal in Tuscany.
Oh, they're essential. Food and wine in Tuscany, they're meant to be enjoyed together. Each one makes the other taste better. On this tour, you might try Chianti Classico with some classic Tuscan dishes like ribollita, hearty bread and vegetable soup, or papa al pomodoro, a thick tomato and bread soup. They really bring out the best in both the wine and the food.
Sounds delicious. Okay, we've covered the jam-packed day trip from Florence. Now let's talk about the Florence Sunset Food and Wine Tour with Eating Europe, the one that's been calling my name. It looks so romantic.
This one's all about soaking up Florence at sunset. You're strolling through those beautiful streets, enjoying food and wine as you go.
One of the YouTube videos shows the group walking across Ponte Vecchio as the sun sets. You know, that famous bridge with all the shops? The way it lights up the Arno River, it's magical.
It's the perfect setting for a romantic evening. Picture yourself walking with your loved one, taking in the views, then ducking into a cozy wine bar for a little taste of Tuscany.
The YouTubers who went on this tour raved about the food pairings, things like prosciutto, cheese, and olives with their wine. Were there any pairings that stood out to you?
One YouTuber really loved the Chianti Classico with truffle-infused pecorino cheese. They said the truffle, with those earthy flavors, really went well with the wine's fruitiness and tannins. They also tried a Tuscan salami called finocchiona, which is seasoned with fennel seeds, and had that with a glass of Chianti. Apparently, the fennel added a really interesting complexity.
It's like a symphony of flavors.
It is.
Okay, this tour sounds amazing. A real feast for the senses, combining the beauty of Florence with the incredible Tuscan food and wine.
And remember that award-winning gelato I mentioned?
Oh, right.
The YouTuber, Kimberly Hazel, said Gelateria Dondoli in San Gimignano is a must-try. She had the crema di Santa Fina, which has saffron and pine nuts, and she said it was unlike anything she had ever tasted.
Okay, Gelateria Dondoli is at the top of my list. But let's not get sidetracked by gelato. We still have one more tour, the Best of Tuscany day trip from Rome.
Right. This one's perfect for people staying in Rome, but who want to experience Tuscan wine country. It covers a lot in one day, hitting Montepulciano, Pienza, and Montalcino.
Like we were saying earlier, each of those towns has its own unique wines and foods. Montepulciano with its Vino Nobile, Pienza known for pecorino cheese and the amazing views, and Montalcino, the home of Brunello di Montalcino, a whirlwind of Tuscan flavors.
It is. The YouTuber who went on this tour called it a feast for the senses. Non-stop deliciousness from start to finish. They really loved the lunch stop at that local estate where they had homemade pasta and regional wines,
Right.
and they raved about the views from Pienza, just breathtaking.
Sounds like a fantastic balance of wine tasting, great food, and beautiful scenery, all in one day.
Definitely. And, while we're talking about the tours, we should mention that there can be some bumps along the way. The YouTubers were pretty upfront about that. They talked about crowds, especially during the busy season, the heat in the summer, and just how tiring some of those longer tours can be.
It's important to be realistic and prepared. One YouTuber said to book tours and accommodations in advance, especially if you're traveling during peak season, and they really emphasize staying hydrated, wearing comfortable shoes, and pacing yourself.
Yeah, good advice. Another YouTuber reminded everyone that while English is spoken in a lot of the touristy areas, learning a few basic Italian phrases can make a big difference when you're interacting with locals.
Yeah, showing that you care enough to try their language goes a long way. And speaking of those interactions, it's always fun to hear about the unexpected surprises Tuscany has to offer. The YouTubers shared some great stories about finding hidden trattorias, stumbling upon amazing views, and connecting with locals in unexpected ways.
Those are the things that make a trip special, right? You can plan all you want, but the best things often just happen spontaneously.
One YouTuber talked about getting lost in Florence and finding this tiny, family-run restaurant that served the best meal of their trip. It wasn't in any guidebook, just a true hidden gem they wouldn't have found if they hadn't gone off the beaten path.
Another YouTuber met a local winemaker who invited them for a private tasting in his cellar. He shared stories and wines that weren't available anywhere else. That's the kind of thing you just can't plan for.
Those serendipitous moments, the chance encounters, those are the things that really make a trip memorable.
Totally. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our Tuscan wine tour deep dive with some final thoughts and advice to help you plan your own adventure.
All right, we're back, ready for the final sip of our Tuscan wine tour deep dive. We've talked about so much, the different tours, those amazing wines, the challenges, the surprises. But before we send you off to pack your bags, let's make this practical. Like if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I'm ready to book a trip, but where do I even begin? What advice would you give?
Well, a lot of people get stuck trying to find the best tour, but honestly, the best tour is the one that's right for you.
Yeah.
So I'd say start with your heart. Think about what really excites you about Tuscany. Is it the history, the art, the food, or maybe just that dream of escaping to those beautiful vineyards? Let that passion guide you.
I love that start with your heart. It makes so much sense because if you're genuinely excited about the focus, whether it's Renaissance art or finding that perfect Brunello, the whole experience becomes so much richer.
Exactly. So if you're a history buff, that day trip to San Gimignano and Siena, those medieval towns, that'll probably blow you away.
Yeah.
But if you're more into that slow travel, intimate vibe, maybe the farm stay with the homemade dinner is more your style. And for the adventurous types, that Chianti safari with those off the beaten path wineries, that's pretty tempting.
It's like you said before, Tuscany isn't one size fits all. There's something for everyone, but it's about finding what speaks to you. And of course, timing is important. We've talked about how Tuscany changes with the seasons. What should people consider when picking the best time to go?
Well, spring is gorgeous, all those wildflowers and the vineyards coming back to life. But the weather can be a little unpredictable.
Yeah, that's true.
Summer is, peak season. You're guaranteed sunshine, but it comes with bigger crowds and higher prices. If you like that bustling energy, it might be perfect.
But for people looking for something quieter, maybe more romantic, I've always thought autumn in Tuscany seemed really special.
Oh, absolutely. Autumn is harvest season, so the vineyards are just bursting with color. The air is crisp. There's a real festive vibe. Plus, the crowds have died down, so you can relax and enjoy it more.
And speaking of enjoying it, we should remind everyone of those tips from the YouTubers about the practical side of things. Like, comfortable shoes are a must.
Definitely. Some of these tours involve a lot of walking, especially in those hilltop towns. And even in spring and autumn, it can get warm, so pack light clothes and stay hydrated.
And I loved that tip about learning some basic Italian. Even if you're not fluent, just making that effort goes a long way with the locals.
Yeah, it shows respect.
Yeah.
And, don't be afraid to ask questions. Those winemakers, the farmers, they're so passionate about what they do, and they love to share their knowledge.
It's about being present, engaging with everything, and being open to those unexpected moments of beauty that Tuscany seems to offer.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. Imagine you're planning your dream Tuscan wine tour. What are your must-have experiences? Is it finding that hidden winery? Sipping Brunello at sunset? Or maybe mastering the art of pairing Chianti Classico with the perfect Tuscan meal?
What a great question. It really comes down to what you're passionate about. Tuscany provides the setting, but you get to create the experience.
So embrace the journey, enjoy every moment, and make memories that'll last like the taste of a perfect glass of Tuscan wine.
Cheers to that.
Salute.